So the cool thing about this drive, you don't see many 99-yard drives. So obviously this ties the longest drive in NFL history. But I wanted us to focus on this for one moment in particular. I'll get to it when we do. But this is, Seahawks, 7:20 left in the game, and they're down 7. Take it from here. This is the first play, backed up against their own.
The key thing on this play, so this is the first play is Charbonnet's quick dive. You've actually got Charbonnet and Ken Walker in the game. Charbonnet is a really tiny fullback split. You'll see Jake Bobo move down, but the key block here is Gray Zabel, right there, our lovely left guard, and his block on Vita, because Vita almost blows this play up and causes a safety. So as we watch this play through, we'll see Bobo come in and reduce there. And there's your matchup. Right in here is your big matchup on who's going to win this, because Vita is basically, Sundell is cleared out. It's what you call kind of like a trap block. They give it quick inside, and as you watch, Vita almost wins, and then Charbonnet puts it back into Zabel, and Zabel's able to push it enough to get us out.
God, that's such a great rep too, because he doesn't give up on it. Like, we've seen so many interior linemen over the years that if they lose the rep initially, it's over. We've seen dozens of reps already from Zabel where he doesn't. Like, he might lose the first step, but he'll win the rep eventually.
And so to the point, Zabel's winning his rep. The other key one is right here with Greg Gaines and Anthony Bradford.
We're going to talk about Bradford on this drive a little bit.
And so you watch Bradford kind of then lets Greg Gaines go and moves to the second level. But it's an interesting thing. It's just a quick dive play. We'll watch it from the other end zone here. So you've got basically your 1 tech and your 3 tech. And the interesting thing is Sundell basically doesn't touch Vita. He goes straight up here to get to the Mac backer in this case.
That's a tremendous amount of trust in Zabel and Zabel to have Sundell.
Because you're basically slanting this way to try and get Charbonnet into this alley right here. So as we go, you'll see Cross and Zabel both come across face. Just like that, bang. And Vita's winning this rep. At this point right now, Vita is winning this rep. And what Gray does is he actually turns Vita, which is the best part of this. So as you watch this, he turns him enough to finish the rep and allow Charbonnet to get out.
And it might not look like much, but Mike McDonald made a point after the game to say that was the most important play of the drive. Like, getting just those 2 yards, getting that little bit of breathing room. Although this next play was a little scary for a second, but it kind of set up the rest of the drive, just gave him that little bit of leeway.
So what's interesting about this is who's actually in the slot here. That is Elijah Arroyo. That isn't JSN. JSN's reduced up top here at the top of the screen. They're going to move Charbonnet. He's going to go way out here and set up outside there. So you get a true empty look. But what the reason you have is you're actually trying to get Cooper Kupp isolated on a linebacker. Because if you put the tight end in Cooper's spot, if Arroyo's in there, you get tight end versus tight end, or tight end versus linebacker. That's an okay matchup most defenses can live with. If this is, whoever their linebacker was, I don't think it's David. I think David's at the top of the screen. But him now eyeing up Cooper Kupp, he's like, oh gosh, I've got a true slot receiver I got to deal with. This is where, when we talk about mismatches on defenses right now, this is a huge one. So as we watch this play through, now see, that is Todd Bowles knowing tendencies.
Yeah.
Because this DN does not even attempt to force cross. He is already bailing out to here and basically maybe backs up to here to settle and take away, because he knows there's something quick coming, whether it's a slant by Arroyo or by Horton. There's something coming inside and it's quick. They're not going to hang on to the ball long because of where they are on the field. So this is just a really good, I call this a rat defender, because he's basically being a little rat and hanging out behind.
Is this also one of the potential slight downfalls of how quick and decisive Darnold's been with the ball this year? Like teams know that they can kind of act on that first motion.
It is and it isn't, because the thing about this is you're running a pure screen here. This is a pure slot screen. Backside at the top, there's nothing. Like Lucas is on the ground here because he tried to chop. So really, you're in a situation of this play is designed to go here no matter what. You're not even really looking at the top of the screen here to Charbonnet or to JSN at any point.
You know,
now, Kupp gets it and gets out of bounds. And that's the one thing Kupp did really well in this game was create after the catch.
Yeah, that's unbelievable concentration. I mean, this is, you know, we're gonna obviously at the end of this drive, we're gonna show the final interception, the end of the game,
Yep.
and there's still some negative blowback, and there's some fans that think that Darnold quote unquote lost us the game because of that pick, and we'll talk about it and whether it was the right read and get your take on it. But if this play, if Diaby holds on to this ball here, it's a whole different narrative coming out of this game.
Now, the one thing I will say with Darnold here is he needs to have a little bit better recognition of stances. Look at your D end on this side and look at your D end on this side. Do you notice a significant difference in their stance, Dan?
So that indicates he's dropping.
This guy here is coming off the edge.
Coming.
Look at the way his knees bent and everything, like he's firing. This is more of a stand-up spy look. And as you watch this play, who came and who didn't?
Mm-hmm.
That's an instant tell. That is an instant tell. He doesn't even attempt. And even if you look at this, they must have seen this on film, because watch in this particular rep, watch Vita right there. He doesn't even engage really.
Yeah.
So what he was going to be doing is they had two rat defenders, rat defender 1, rat defender 2, because if they had ran anything from JSN slanting in here, which is what we talked about with the robber against week 1 versus San Francisco, Vita's in the spot to potentially make that interception. Now, this is just lucky that it bounced the way that it did.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Fun little fact about Yaya Diaby, by the way. I really liked him coming out in that draft, and we were obviously looking for edge defenders, and that's the year we ended up taking Derek Hall. But after day 2 years ago, Schneider came out and he admitted in the little post-draft press conference they always do right after the rounds, he said that we got sniped today. And there's a lot of reason to think that Diaby was the guy that they wanted, because they were sitting at 80. They were sitting at 83. Tampa takes Diaby at 82. Seattle then trades down all the way down to 108 with Denver, ends up taking, ironically, Anthony Bradford. So just a little fun fact there for you.
So this is a really interesting look here, because you got a massive overload side here to combat Seattle's overload. So Seattle's got 2 tight ends on the field. They've also got a condensed split from Cooper Kupp right here. So you basically, in some respects, some would consider that, like for me, that's like your F. He's super tight. So now you've got this, basically your linebackers walked up into the hole. So you're kind of in this interesting setup right now. And so what's interesting about Seattle is they actually run in a way, a trap.
That's such a weird stance from that linebacker. He's up there in that guy.
Oh, it's very odd. But he is literally
he's playing defense in basketball.
They basically catch what I think in some respects, these 3 individuals here on the D line, they all start slanting this way, because they think Seattle's potentially going to come out here with a zone look. And what Seattle does really well is they run a trap these guys, and kick out block here. And it allows Ken to go right through that hole. So you watch there, boom, Saubert and Kupp here, kind of double team. And then basically Barner's washing down. And now there's your next key block right there by Eric Saubert. Sealing that linebacker. And now you look, K9, and this is a one-on-one with the safety. And then JSN actually makes a good block downfield. He doesn't hold. He just gets in the way enough to allow Ken to get around the outside. And you'll see it really good from the end zone look here. So you see how the Seahawks line just completely slides this way?
Mm-hmm.
And you basically allow Barner, and then Sauberts kind of assists here with Cup, and then his eyes are to this backer here. And once he sees him shoot into the gap, he comes across and just seals. So he's there, okay? Like Saubert doesn't give much effort, just lets Cup get his hands there, and then bang. Now you've got your lane right there.
Nice.
Now, the thing I would like to see in this is if you watch Anthony Bradford here, I like what he does.
He gets to the second level quick, and this is something that people doubted he could do. He doesn't really do much once he gets there, but he gets there quick.
The thing that he does well here is he forces David. So where David is at this point, because he comes through and cuts off, David can't step over and fill. Levante David's got to come down here now. And that's a really good play. If you're not going to make the block, get the hell in the way.
Yeah.
And now because of that, now Bradford is in position to seal off Levante David from flowing across and trying to replace.
Nice.
Okay, so now you're in
next play now, 1st and 10 at the 34.
Yeah, and you're in 12 personnel again, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. Now, see, this is the play that we've been asking for. So you see Elijah Arroyo right here. You're going to fake zone. Sam's going to come out, and he's going to boot around, and Arroyo is going to run right underneath and out into the flat right there. Now, see, the problem here on this, and I'll be brutally honest with you, it's either Cup or Barner right here runs too deep in their route.
Okay.
Because as you watch it develop, Sam's eyes are right here. I think he wants Barner to get out here, and Cup's supposed to carry over top. So you kind of end up basically with Arroyo out here, you end up with a flood look.
Okay.
And then JSN's trailing in behind. And as you watch this develop, they kind of get stopped up here.
Yeah.
Right there. And now JSN's breaking is inside. Now Sam's set up because now he knows he's got, like, because of that, Sam's immediately turned off of that. They have this down here covered up. This whole thing here is all nicely covered up. Well done by Tampa Bay. They understood what was coming. This is where the back door of JSN on this is like your comeback to. And that's why Sam kind of double clutches, fits it in a nice window. So the way this route goes, I think based on how this is finished, Cup runs too deep.
Okay.
Reason for that is if you watch AJ Barner here, AJ Barner ends up over here on a flag or corner route. So what I think probably was supposed to happen here is when they get to this point, because Barner had to take that inside release and get off that quick jam at the bottom of the screen, now one of them's got to adjust. Now either Barner's got to realize I can't get over top because I'm too slow and Cup's faster. I need to break it out where I'm saying here and let Cup carry over top. He keeps trying to get to that point, and Cup eventually gets cut off. JSN is perfect in his spot. He's the trail receiver on the boot.
I love the end zone view of this. Just, you were asking for more boot action in this game. I feel like we saw a little bit more, maybe 4 or 5 times, but Darnold throws this so well. I don't think he's missed on a boot left this year.
So what's interesting watching it from the end zone is watch Sam's feet. He comes out and he's wanting to throw this route right now. He's expecting that DN to be here.
Mm.
And he's not. So now Sam's going, crap, I'm not in a full boot. He's not in his sprint to keep carrying.
Right.
He's now got to step in here and set up. So now he sets up. Now his eyes initially, if you watch his head, he's looking at Cooper Kupp. Not there. Now it's backdoor to JSN, and he knows this is my window to hit this right here.
And right there, keep it there. Like we've seen this throw 2 or 3 times this season. I remember a big 3rd down conversion against Pittsburgh. And then we saw the one actually to Bobo last week where like right there, and you can see where his head is. Like he might be thinking if Kupp responds quickly enough, and he doesn't, he keeps carrying, he could throw it to his back shoulder and trust him to make the catch, right? You know the throw I'm referencing?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And see, the thing that's interesting is he double clutches right here. He's double clutching because he thinks this defender is actually going to be able to get to the spot where he's initially thinking, which is right here, which is why when you watch Sam finally throw it, he actually throws it right there. He throws it right down this hash line.
God, it's just great anticipation.
Yep. It's right in the window.
That's the textbook example of throwing a guy open, right? Like,
yep, it is. Sorry about that. But the interesting thing here too is, I'm just going to talk about a rep right now, is you've got Vita Vea, Mr. Disruptor, the guy that we all talked about ruining. Watch what Charles Cross and Zabel do to Vita Vea. Zabel's got him. Cross now comes right across and just pins him.
I don't think we heard Vea's name on the broadcast. Like he was basically neutralized.
Yep, he was. All right, so here we go again. Now they're in their 12. They're in 12 personnel. They've been in it the entire drive practically, in just different variations of it.
This is my favorite play of the drive. So this was the one I mentioned that this might have been the reason I chose in the moment that we watched this happen. I was like, might have to show this drive. Or actually, when they scored the touchdown, I thought this was the statement. When this play was finished, I thought they're going to win this football game. The effort.
Yeah. So they just basically are running duo.
Nothing fancy about this play.
Nope. Fact, they're just running. They're running duo,
fails, right? Like
it's duo. It's a dive. It's meant to go for 4 yards, not go for 9. And that's just all effort. Because the thing is realistically, again, because of their 12 personnel right there, 2 tight ends, Kupp in the reduce here. If it was me, if you have, a more balanced look, you might October this or whatever and run it right in this gap, right? And have, Cross and Bradford double team, or sorry, Sundell, I should say. And then Sundell bangs off here. You got Sundell or Zabel and Cross working this, and you run it right in there. But they run to this, and it's impressive what they're able to do here. Because they get the double and they get this linebacker to shoot on that side of into the one gap. Now the thing is the tight ends need to do a better job of actually driving. Barner here needs to do a better job of run blocking. He gets stood up. Like that point there, you losing that leverage battle inside. If he can actually fire out and get his pad level, he might be able to help Lucas, allow Lucas to drive, and this might have gone for a lot more.
It looked like now with Brad in between and just didn't really know where to commit, right?
Exactly. And so now you're seeing the issue. Now this is all bunged up in here.
And that's Bradford on Vea again. I'll say this, and I'm going to talk more about Anthony Bradford later this week, but he took so much heat last week, and quite a bit of it was due to, a guy on Twitter, posted something that went viral, and it was just a cut up of all his bad plays. I watched the All-22 3 full times last week. I usually don't do it. That much. He was on the injury report all week with a back injury, only practiced in full once that week. I think it was hurting him. His get off was so slow last week. I don't think he was healthy. I don't think he was 100%, and it showed. He was much, much better this week. This version of Anthony Bradford, you can live with and you can win with.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So here's the notable thing about this play.
Yeah.
This is the only running play of the entire game that went for no yards. They were leading the NFL through 4 weeks in negative or stuffed run plays. It was still a problem, even though we were seeing more explosives. We were seeing progress. This was the only play of the entire game that didn't go for positive yardage. That's a huge step forward.
And so what's interesting about this is you don't get, and this is, I'm going to be honest with you, this motion by JSN in some respects is completely, if you're running a pass play, yeah, okay, we know they're in man. if you're trying to run the ball, you're trying to get this guy here to hesitate and take a step out like he's going to chase a jet. But because they don't run jet enough, doesn't get him to move. And so what ends up happening here is Sundell gets a little bit of a struggle point here with Vita Vea. So Vita tries to swim him, and Sundell actually sticks with it. Now this linebacker fills the hole because this is where they want to run it. They want to run it in this alley here. Now K9 does the right thing. He cuts. But because this guy doesn't respect your jet, he's right here and now fill this hole. Bang. Play's dead.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd like to see them add a little bit more of those jet handoffs. Because, see, that guy doesn't even hesitate. He doesn't even think JSN's got the ball. It's like, okay, whatever.
So is this an example of like you as a play caller, offensive coordinator? Are you thinking, okay, next week on the call sheet in Jacksonville, I'm handing that to JSN at least once, right? Because now they're seeing it on tape and they're not going to respect it potentially. I mean,
I'm giving it to Horton or JSN on something.
Yeah.
You've got to start running it a little bit to open up that motion, to get that hesitation from that backer, especially if that's going to be your cutback lane.
Yeah.
Now, this was an interesting formation because you've got Cooper Kupp lined off as your offset in a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Torrey Horton on your reduced, so he's really condensed, and JSN. I didn't like this call.
Yeah, and and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the call itself, but just the execution of the play too, like standing flat-footed, right? Not stepping into the throw with a guy in your face and trying to throw that out, which is a high degree of difficulty throw. Anyway, this is a tough one.
Well, the what you're basically running here, and so it's no different than if what you would do normally is your back would be lined up here, and you're running an RPO fake, you're running a flat, and you're running either with JSN, you're either running like a snag or a slant across is what you're running essentially. And so when you watch this, what they get caught in is they get caught in cover 2. Because this corner is now responsible for the flat and the linebacker holds inside. It's a great call by Bowles, but the problem you've got here is Charbonnet is acting like he's running a dive in here. Okay, but the problem is how often have we seen them run read option pistol? Not that often. And you're having this again to Sam's offside. So like he is opening to his left, trying to now create force there with Charbonnet in his face. And you can see right here, like Sam goes for that little fake. He's like, I'm going to fake it. Well, this guy doesn't respect it at all. And neither does this corner whose eyes are locked into the backfield. Like he is locked with Sam. He knows that Sam is throwing it right here. Because David's in the right position to deal with JSN. And
did Sam ad-lib on this play? Was he supposed to play fake to Charbonnet there, do you think? Because I'm taken by how Charbonnet is not trying to blast that rusher. He should be trying to take him out. It almost looks like he's expecting a play fake there.
No, Charbonnet's expecting to get the ball. Look at the offensive line here, Dan. When they fire out, they're not past. So let me just clear all this stuff. I'll clear this all out of the way so that way it helps. If you watch the offensive line, they all fire out. So as Charbonnet comes through here, they're all firing out. Look at AJ Barner, how far downfield AJ Barner is at the top of the screen, and Torrey Horton's blocking. So this here was a read option, and Sam, in my opinion, made the wrong read. He should have just gave it. You had the blocking inside. Like if he gives this to Charbonnet, Charbonnet's probably here. But he had, based on the look at the beginning of this play, and I get what Sam's looking at pre-snap here when he sees the motion. So he sees the motion, and he sees this guy come outside. So he's going, okay, this guy's coming off the edge. I'm going to have this guy in a one-on-one, but this guy's eyes are right in on Sam. That's how you know it's zone coverage. He is looking right at Sam. And he goes, cool, I can pass this off, and I'm going to go jump Cooper Kupp here in the flat.
And you hear this all the time. You hear that the one of the best ways to deal with pressure is to throw into the pressure, because you know that there's openings behind that rusher, right? They're leaving some responsibility vacant. But the other problem with that is you've got a free rusher that can impact the throw, and he did here.
He impacts the throw.
He even tipped it. I didn't realize at the time, but look, that ball comes out.
He does get a bit on it.
Yeah.
The thing would have been probably in the best case here is if JSN had sat right here instead of carrying inside, that would have probably been your best option. Because there was only one place for Sam to go. Like that to me was a weird and odd play call from Klint Kubiak. All right, so here we go again. Now you're in 11 personnel.
It all works out okay.
It does. So again, this is what I love about this offense so much is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set. And again,
now let me stop you here for a sec. Do you consider this play action? Like, he doesn't actually make a play fake to Charbonnet, but a defender sees that he's coming off his hip and Darnold's facing that way. Is it almost essentially, does it serve the same?
I call this more of a sprint set. Okay. Is what I call it. My offense is a sprint set. So you sprint like you're going to hand it, but you don't actually show any fake.
Yeah.
And you got the quick leak. Now, here's the thing. JSN isn't looking. Sam wants to rip this to JSN right now in this window. But JSN isn't looking. JSN isn't looking till now. And Sam can't get him the ball. Because you see Sam come off his read. Sam's read right now is read 1, Cooper Kupp, and JSN is read 2. Horton theoretically is read 3 in this play. And you can see by the way he goes, okay, he's not there. He doesn't even look at Horton. His feet and everything flip to throw JSN. See? I am now aligned to throw this, but JSN is not going to look till he's here. And this is where, yes, I love the amount of praise and the things that JSN has done. This is still him being a young receiver and working on timing, understanding like you're running and there is nobody around you. Just get your head around to your quarterback.
Yeah.
And especially if he gets his head around,
especially JSN, Cross gets his ass beat right off the line.
Yep.
Which we haven't seen happen a lot this year, but also reminds me of like, what do we talk about on defense? Like, we don't have a guy that does that.
No.
That kind of burst is.
And so what you see out of Sam here is he understands it. And this is what all young quarterbacks, if there are any young quarterbacks that watch this, I teach. Sam would probably, most young quarterbacks would make the mistake and go this way. They'd feel the pressure and they try and beat this guy running this way and maybe try and throw it to Cooper Kupp or hit JSN over here. Good veteran quarterbacks understand if my tackle is beat and I can get up in the pocket, get up, and then get out.
Yeah, because
now it gives Cross a chance.
A lot of young quarterbacks and a certain quarterback that wore the number 3 that played here for a long time would try to either fade back or bail out, do the 360 thing and come back over the left side too.
Well, because DNs are taught to aim for this area of the quarterback when they're coming off the edge. They want the back shoulder because that's where the ball is. They can come over the top and swipe and try and create the strip sack. Sam does 2 really good things here. He steps up and he turns. So now Cross can make up that block. Cross is able to still get it back engaged in that. And then Sam gets out of one and then makes a hell of a throw to a wide open Torrey Horton.
And the recognition even to stand up and throw it there instead of continuing to try and get to the corner.
Well, the thing that's interesting here, and I think this is what screws up Tampa Bay in some respects, is AJ Barner actually. Because AJ Barner gets tripped up, but I think he's actually supposed to be running an under this way. And he can't get to it. So what does AJ Barner do? Okay, I'm messed up. I'm just going to sit here on a spot route and watch what happens to this defender right here, who I think potentially is supposed to carry Torrey Horton. Oh, AJ's right in front of him.
He gets caught in between.
And these two guys both converge on AJ Barner, leaving Horton all on his own.
Yeah. They also think Sam sacked.
Yeah, that too.
He's made a play like that in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe New Orleans because he didn't need to, but we've seen that kind of ad lib, make the most, make lemonade out of what.
So here's the other thing Sam does really good. Watch how he protects the football in a throwing manner, though. A lot of quarterbacks will try and put two hands. Some quarterbacks will get kind of loose with it because they're at the throwing point, right? And they want to be able to get it out. What Sam does is he turns the ball inside like this to his body and holds it here where all he's got to do is just uncoil it to throw. And so when you watch Sam here, he turns it inside to his body, and you can see he's kind of got it tucked away, and then it comes out, and now I can quick throw it. And that's why he gets off such a clean pass.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, the interception.
Yeah, this is a bonus play. I mean, we have to address this, right? We can't be accused of being total homers. You have something that I know pretty strongly to say about this play to those who say that, this was just a terrible play by Sam and he should have never thrown this, right?
So first off, they get Sam's alluded to he should have changed the protection a little bit. Okay, right. He's alluded to that. Fair. It's still not a bad matchup. What you get away with, though, here is Levante David grabs Cooper Kupp 5 yards downfield, which is an immediate illegal contact on a receiver call. You cannot touch the receiver 5 yards downfield. Right there. Grabs and turns Cooper Kupp. You can see his arm holding Cooper Kupp across the chest. Now, the thing is, everyone's going, oh, it's such a tight window for Sam to throw in. It's not really. The other defenders on the hash, Sam is throwing this ball right here.
And we've seen him complete this exact same throw to Kupp 6 times this year. He trusts him, and Kupp makes that catch.
So he throws it, it deflects off the helmet, and ends up right in Levante David's hands. And the only reason Levante David can do it there.
Sam says he was, and from the other angle, David falls into this catch. Like, it's not, I don't want to take anything away from him. He's one of the all-time great inside linebackers, especially as a coverage guy, but he kind of just falls into this play. But Sam said afterwards he was trying to throw this away. Do you believe him?
Based off of what I've seen, I could see it as a throwaway into the dirt in front of Cooper Kupp right there. He's trying to turf this right in there.
Okay. Yeah, from that angle.
And because if you look at the ball,
but then it goes right off
before it hits the helmet, that ball is going in that general direction in the turf.
Yep.
Hits the helmet, unfortunately, and literally ricochets with velocity up
right
to Levante David.
David's head isn't even turned. Like, he just looks up and the ball's right there.
But just to prove my point on the call that you never got,
you could call that illegal contact. You could call that defensive holding.
Whatever you want to.
Absolutely. And I'm not one that likes to make excuses, but that's,
it contributes to a little bit of what's going on here.
Huge play. Yeah.
Because Sam's going there and he's like, okay, now I got look at the window. Sam right now is about to start a throw.
And honestly,
there's space.
We see that exact play called a penalty 9 times out of 10 because you have the linebacker going the opposite direction of the receiver. Correct. And then you see the receiver being redirected. That a flag comes out of that, usually from the back judge, 9 times out of 10.
Exactly. And based on this window, Sam's right there. Now the ball gets deflected, ends up in an interception.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you're going to have to make tight windows. Now, I'll say this. Charbonnet has to do a better job in pass pro. Now, this is what Sam's meaning by I didn't call the right pass pro. The line should have slid this way.
Yeah, as soon as Barner flipped over to the other side, I mean, you have 4, especially if that guy's coming. So you have 4 rushers, 3 blockers. Well,
you've got a 2-on-1 here, which you don't need. Lucas should own that guy. Sundell should be working here with Bradford. Zabel should be working here. And Charbonnet's got this guy coming off this way.
So when he first said that, I thought that meant he should have kept Barner over on the
Barner
the left
can
side.
release.
You're saying he can still carry and just slide those guys left. Okay.
Because what you get here, so based off this look, okay, you got your lockup right here. Okay. You've got now see how Sundell stepped this way?
Mm-hmm.
Bradford does the smart thing, passes off. Okay. This guy goes wide. Lucas, if you slide, he slides in that gap. So now Bradford and Sundell can both take this defender right here.
Which, by the way, what he's doing right now is something we haven't seen centers do in Seattle in a long time, maybe a little bit of Olu last year, but just that awareness. And
Yeah.
we've seen guys so many times, they just commit to one thing and one thing only. But that awareness to stick his arm out, put his hand on him. Like, I feel this guy. I don't want to lose sight of this guy. I want to know where he's at all times. Like, that shows me an advanced awareness of the position.
And so then if he does that, then what you get here is you get Zabel can take on the defender that Charbonnet's got to deal with. And Charbonnet now takes the small, again, Charbonnet on a linebacker, Charbonnet on a defensive back. I like that matchup a lot more.
Yeah.
Now you're blocked up properly because they only brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 6 in the block, but you have 3 guys on 1.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where the protection issue. So I will fault Sam on that. He did not make the right change because they slid right instead of sliding left.
Yeah.
But after that, he still makes the right read. The read isn't a bad read. You got a couple things that work. You got the holding that should be called. This should be first down Seattle, 10 yards forward.
What do you say to people that say, yeah, I know he threw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he lost us the game?
This is a PG show, so I won't say what I want to say, Dan. But what I'll say is it's people that want to try and fault somebody that's never been in their shoes before and think it's just, oh, well, he threw the game away. You know, typical Sam, no clutch in him. He was clutch against Arizona, and it's not just him. There are so many other things that go into a play being executed correctly. Cooper Kupp might come back and be like, you know what? I took one too many steps before my break. I should never let David get hands on me. Yeah. I should have seen this and got out of my break way sooner. Like, if Sam did not blatantly throw this to a guy that was standing right in front of him, like Sam Howell did versus Green Bay. We're talking about he has the right read. It's going to the right spot. It deflects off a helmet, which will happen in football. No different than a running back running perfectly down the sideline and a defender's helmet coming in on the tackle and perfectly hitting the ball and making it fumble. Is that all of a sudden when that happened to LaDainian Tomlinson, do people turn around and go, man, LaDainian Tomlinson has serious ball, security issues? Like, if you're going to make comments and you're going to try and, look at it through a non-emotional lens, then actually make an educated comment about it. Don't sit there and be like, oh, Sam threw the game away because he threw an interception. Okay, what happens if he completes this pass and we go down the field? Is Sam Darnold then clutch all of a sudden? Like, right.
And I also say this all the time to people, like, the other team's trying to win too. And they have really good players. And that's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, has been for a long time. And they threw some stuff at him, and the Seahawks won the battle against Todd Bowles for most of the game. Also, everyone wants to make these comments in a vacuum, but until you look at what everyone else in the league is doing, I think it's really tough to justify your position if you want to make a statement like that. Because go watch Josh Allen's last 3 games. Go watch Jalen Hurts' last 3 games. Watch Patrick Mahomes' Nobody is playing at an MVP level in this league right now. Nobody is.
There's one guy, and that is the guy that we played on Sunday in Baker Mayfield.
But even the first 3 weeks against teams that were a combined 1-8,
oh yeah,
they had to come back on the last drive of the game, and he was completing less than 60% of his passes. So that kind of plays to my point, right? Like, maybe Sunday kind of gets him into that conversation if he continues doing this. But my point is that, like, nobody's perfect, and if fans expect players to be perfect, then I don't know what they want, right? And performance and the level of performance they're getting from Sam Darnold through 5 games. Anyone who looks at what he's doing and questions it or thinks that they should go a different direction. I had a guy tell me today they needed to target a quarterback in next year's draft in the first round. I wanted to throw myself off a building.
Well, and like, if you want to start really diving into it, you know what? I would say Todd Bowles clearly watched film, understood what Seattle likes in certain situations. If they line up Cooper Kupp, they like that stick route, that quick slant stick route from Cooper Kupp. okay, Klint Kubiak, you are now seeing what teams are doing. Robert Saleh almost had it figured out in the San Francisco game. There have been other points with other teams. Okay, have Cooper Kupp fake the stick and run the bang or the whip route. And now he steps and goes back out, and you run JSN on the end. Now you're starting to evolve. So maybe that's the thing that you see next is teams have now figured out this is what they like. Sam's come to throw. Okay, we're going to throw the whip route. But don't sit there and go, oh, Sam Darnold lost us the game because he threw an interception that deflected off of a defensive lineman's helmet because, okay, yes, the protection was set bad. It still wasn't a bad read. And you had a linebacker get away with an illegal contact on a receiver, and the ball literally fall in his chin strap because of where he was positioned. Like, you had the trifecta of things go wrong. That will happen on occasion. And I sat there watching this game going, it was going to happen to one of the two teams. It could have happened to Baker Mayfield. Is everyone going to turn on Baker Mayfield all of a sudden?
Right. Yeah. Well, they're going to have to go do it again this week against a young defensive coordinator with not a lot of track record out there on tape, but a team that's playing at a really high level and against maybe the best coverage linebacker in the game right now, and Devin Lloyd, who's got, I think, 4 picks and had the 99-yard interception return yesterday. And this Jacksonville Jaguars team leads the NFL in takeaways. So Sam's going to have to be tight. He's going to have to be on his game, and he's going to have to protect the ball on Sunday. But should be another probably close game, another down to the last possession. And I'm looking forward to it. It's my birthday, so I'm hoping for my birthday present on Sunday from the Seahawks to get to 4-2. So thanks again, Bryce. Always appreciate it. And once again, for the 5th straight week now doing Film Lab, I learned something. Hope the viewers did too. I'm sure they did.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Love doing these breakdowns. And again, I hope the viewers too are learning a few things. And if you guys ever have questions, shoot them my way.